We got our independence in 1983 from England, or you may say Britain. And we are also a full member of the United Nations. So the British came first to the island in 1623, colonized St. Kitts and made us the first English-speaking Caribbean island. Then gave St. Kitts the name Mother Colony, so St. Kitts was known as the Mother of the Caribbean, after which it was used as their main colony, and they took off and colonized many other Caribbean islands like Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica. Now St. Kitts is like a dot to those islands. But nevertheless, in the 1600s, we were the main colony for the British. (1625), 2 years after, we also had the French coming to the island, and the French occupied both ends. Luckily, we are on one of our ends, which is our capital, Bastille or Basseterre. It's a French word which means low land. So the French occupy this end, which is Bastille or Basseterre. It's a French word, means low. Now, as you go around on our tour, you're going to notice that the design of the island back in its early days would have had stone in the bottom of the buildings and wooden tops. So as you go around, you're going to see a few of these long-standing buildings that's been around here for hundreds of years. Probably over the years the wood on the top may have been repaired, but you will see the original stone works in the bottom, most of the buildings, and wooden tops. That's the design of the island back in its... So if you look to the right as a skinny road here, you'll see a modern building taking a replication of the history. It's sticking some stones on the side and placing some wood on the side also to resemble the history here. Now on your left you would see these stones, which are called ballad stones. If you see these stones on the fencing or on the bottom of the buildings, you know that they've been around for hundreds of years. They're called ballad stones. The blue building that will be ahead, it's closed at the moment because of some reconstruction on the inside, but it's our courthouse. Normally, we hold the higher court on the top, and the lower court is being held on the bottom. As I told you, it's relocated, it's closed at the moment. So a judicial building on your right. Now, as you go by, look over the arch, you will see Independence Square, formerly known as Pall Mall Square. It's now Independence Square after we became independence. It's an open park that you can walk through it, sit under the trees, read a book. You can have a picnic if you wish. But back in its earlier days, it was known to be what they would have called the auction block.
Look at the
So it was a slave market.
Look at the
So what would have
plates.
happened is that the planters
and then a number.
on the neighboring islands, the planters on St. Kitts and Nevis, would have come here for the buying and the selling of their slaves.
So that one just has to be there.
So the courthouse is relocated here. That's why the police is there. You call on your name and then you enter to hear your case there. The fountain is a representation of fresh water coming into the capital. That's why it's there. The walkway, if you look down on it from a helicopter, you'll notice that the walkway represents the Union Jack on the British flag. Yes, the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception on your right, Roman Catholic Church over 100 years, connected to the St. John's Cathedral in Antigua. In the back, the yellow building is a private school attached to the church. So it's a Roman Catholic church there. It's the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception, Roman Catholic. This is the main road going to the capital here, Killard Street. It's the main road going through that town. So it can get you in and out of the town once you get on it and you keep on it. On your right, the blue frames, the blue doors, is the police station, our main police headquarters here. Our main police, we have lots of them on the island, but this is the main headquarters. And attached to it, look above the arch, is 1840 attached to the police station. So you don't want to enter that arch, okay? That's 1840. Yes. That's when this whole facility was built in 1840. That's the jail gates there, okay? So the prison is attached to the police station. You don't want to go there. We don't call it jail, we call it 1840. If you look above the arches of the year, that's why we just say 1840. And that's the prison gates there. So in a moment we're going to be going across on the right. As we get the green light, it's going to be done on the right. The St. George's Anglican Church, which is the main church here on the island, the Anglican churches. We have 8 of them separating the communities. On St. Kitts in the Caribbean, they're known as parishes. So my parish is called St. Thomas. We have 6 villages making up my community. I will call it community, okay? And the location that we are changing village, okay? So, yes, each community have a church representing it. Sometimes it may take 6 villages to make that one community. Like my village, my community have 6 small villages. We will be going through it. So I'll be telling you to blink. And you'll be getting, you know, when you're changing village. Yes, on your right. It was destroyed 4 times already. Twice by fire, earthquake, hurricane, but it's been restored to its origin. The St. George's Anglican Church. It was first the site of the Roman Catholic. But during the war on the island, you know, the British had control of the whole island eventually, even though we had both of them on the island. Eventually, the British took over the whole island. So we were known only as a British colony. And then they turned it into the Church of England, which is now the main churches here on the island. So you can say we're made up of 8 communities here on the island. On our left is our government treasury. Chambers here. Government treasury on our left. Also just across from it is a development bank that is operated by government. Yes, if you want to start a small business or you want to get a loan to keep your small business floating, easiest spot to get the loans is right here by the government-owned development bank. On our right, the grey building and white. It used to be pink about a month ago. They're replicating the White House. This is where they make the lives miserable here on the island of St. Kitts, okay? Yeah, it's our government building. I'm just joking though. This is where we keep parliament. This is where you find our prime minister and the others that control the islands. They have the office located here. So this is our government building. We have election every 5 years. We have a prime minister and he can lead just as long as we vote for him. So in the history of the island, we had 4 prime ministers. This one is the 4th and current one. So the first prime minister, we gave him 15 years. Second prime minister had 20 years. Then we started to cut them short, okay? The third one, we only gave him 7 years. This one has been there since August. If you don't do too good, we also going to be cutting him short. 4 weeks if you don't do too good. Okay. Yeah, we like to pressure those ministers to get what we want. We don't get it, we just take them out. So we're heading for the center of the capital. We're going to be seeing a big green clock. And it's actually a replica of the Piccadilly Circus in London, England. All around that clock you will see jewelry stores, banks, restaurants, shops, you name it. Thomas Berkeley, he was a planter on the island and head of his legislative body in the earlier days. And this clock was put here in remembrance of Thomas Berkeley, replicating the Piccadilly Circus. Okay, they say it represents the Big Ben in England, but you're on St. Kitts, so it's like the Little Ben for us here on the island. Okay. Now, if you look at the buildings, you see the stone bottoms, wooden tops. You will take notice that these are the long-standing buildings that have been around the capital here for hundreds of years. So if you look carefully in the bottom of most of these buildings, you're all going to see cellars below them. All of these buildings going around here, they have cellars below. Because these are the buildings that they would have used to host the slaves after the trip on the ship, nurse them back to health, and then put them in the square and auction. So if you look down below, you will see cellars below them. Straight ahead is our National Museum, old Treasury building. Now the National Museum. Old Treasury, over 100 years old, that building. It's now our National Museum. Okay? It was once the gateway to the island by ocean. So as a kid, he had a wooden dock leading through this arch, and your big boat would have stayed on the water. You're coming by a smaller boat. Okay? So, yes, before 2005, everything behind of it, all ocean. Okay? So we had a wooden dock through this arch, all ocean. So where you come from, yeah, you're lucky we had the window closed, okay? They all have all mini buses, independently owned buses, privately owned buses, but the government have the price fees to the destinations. Yes. All local buses here, they're independently owned. Government does have the price fees to the destinations. If you look on your right, yes, you will see the American Embassy. I'm joking, okay? It's KFC there. Yes. So the minibus terminal, how you could identify these buses that can get you where you want to go on the island is by the green license plates. The license plates will be green with an H or a H, A, and a number. That's how you identify these buses, by the green license plate. But something culture we do, we also name our buses just like the ships. So if you look on the windscreens, the sides, the back glass, or the bonnets, you're going to see all kind of unique names. Attached to the minibus terminal, you will also see our ferry terminal. Those ferries will get you to the sister island in 45 minutes. Okay? 45 minutes, it's 11 miles port to port. Look at that one, how pretty it get. Locker, right? So yes, we name the buses, force feed it. You see Instagram. You see the love sponge. You see the cake.
Yeah.
Now we have hundreds of these buses, okay?
James Bond.
Hundreds of these buses. Look at the ferry terminal. 45 minutes to the sister island. 45 minutes to the sister island. 11 miles port to port. So they go back and forth on every hour until the evening time. On your right, the green building is our market. Market days is from Monday to Saturdays, but you can come here as early on Saturdays. Is the real market days when you find all the farmers with their products on the tables, and you can go in here and shop till you drop for your. If you look at the sand, you'll notice that we do have some black sand there. And that's evidence that we do have a volcano on the island. It's been dormant for over 400 years. It's in the mountain, and the mountain is called Mount Layamiga, given its name by the indigenous Indians to the island, or the Carib or the Arawaks Indians. They call the mountain Mount Layamiga, which means land of fertile soil. So if you stick your hand in the dirt too long on the island, it will start to grow. So unless you want to grow, you don't mess with the soil, okay? Any tropical flower plant you bring here on the island definitely will grow in glory. So we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we're going to be going past War Memorial or Cenotaph. It's called the War Memorial or Cenotaph. It's where you're going to find all the man name on the plaque that you'll be going by. Have a plaque on it with all the names of the men that fight in World War I and II alongside the British Armed Force. And these guys were from St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla. The names are located on the obelisk on the plaque that is running in the air. If you look in that memorial as you go by, you're going to see 3 tombstones representing the islands. But none of these tombstones is made of the same stones. They went to the separate islands and collect the stones and made the tombstone to represent the 3 separate islands. The same thing was done with the soil that was laid out in here. We call it the War Memorial or Cenotaph. The men that fight in World War I and II alongside the British Armed Force. Is the name of this location. It was more like an upscale area back in its earlier days. It's more like a middle class area here. At the moment, I guess as time goes, things change. The home on the right though is over 100 years old. Over 100 years old, the home on your right. Now on the island, education is free. Government pays for the kids' education here on the island of St. Kitts and Nevis. Free of cost. Yes. So the government, they operate 18 public primary schools. 18 of them. 6 public high school, 3 public college. Now the schools are scattered in all the different communities around the entire island. Okay, so the schools are in all the different communities. 18 public primary schools, 6 public high school, and 3 public college. So on your right, 2-story pink building coming up is one out of the 18 primary schools operated by government. They get 8:30 in the morning, 1 break also in the morning, 1 hour for their lunch, and they finish at 3:30 in the afternoon. All the schools wear uniforms, so you can identify the students any time of the day. Okay, any time of the day. So this is one out of the 18 schools operated here by the government. They're in their classes doing their work. And these guys wear the pink shirts. Straight ahead, I love to call it the Springfield Underground Hotel. It's the only underground hotel in the capital. Yeah, in the Springfield Cemetery,
You check in, but you don't check
it's
out.
the only cemetery in the capital. It's the only one we have here in the town. It's the largest cemetery also here on the island. It's the largest one we have on the island. It's the only cemetery you'll find here in the capital. Burial is done on St. Kitts and Nevis 6 feet below the ground. Okay, 6 feet below. Burial is done here on the island. We're back on our main road going to the capital. In a moment we're going to go past our France General Hospital. It's called Joseph Nathaniel France. Joseph Nathaniel France, he was the longest serving doctor on St. Kitts, and the government decided to name the main hospital after him. So we call it JN France General Hospital. His name was Joseph Nathaniel France, longest serving doctor on St. Kitts. So the government named the hospital after him. It's on your right. We have 2 more hospitals on the island. Yes, but they're not as fully equipped as this one. So anything major happen on the island will always have to come back in the capital to the JN France. Okay? Anything major will always have to head back here in the town. Theater rooms, operating rooms. On your left though, Coca-Cola bottle right here. Just across from it is the finest tasting beer I've brewed right there. Caribbean.
Saunders said it's cookie.
Do the Caribbean, number
She had
1
one
beer.
yesterday.
It's made from our own natural spring water coming out of the mountains. So if you drink beer, I suggest you try the Caribbean before you leave the island. Now, we also make 2 other beers. We make a Scholar, and we also make a Stag. It's the strongest one. They call that one the man's beer, the Stag. Strongest one. Now, for those who do not drink alcohol, non-alcoholic beverage, we also have a giant malt. It's made of a malt seed, no alcohol. We have a ginseng up, made from a ginseng root, no alcohol added. We also have a pear jello made from the pears you eat in the stores. And we also have a ting, which is one of the favorites here on the island. It's made of a grapefruit. But when you go to the bars and you add a bit of alcohol with that ting, it's called a ting with a sting. Yeah, that's my drink on the weekend when I'm not working. I'm stinging. So yeah, that's a grapefruit drink. By itself it's nice, so you can drink it if it no alcohol. But if you want a sting, then you add the alcohol, it will be the sting. On your left gonna be a lot of white birds. They're called egrets, migrated from West Africa, using these trees as a safe haven from the mongoose. Back in the days we had a lot of snakes, so the mongoose were brought on the island and they did their job. They kill all the snakes like. So now the mangoes have turned on the bird life. They eat the eggs and the young ones of these birds. So this tree is a thorn tree with long prickles 2.5 inches in length. So the mangoes will die before it get to the top. So the tree provides a safe haven for the birds and their eggs.
Oh, look at the cows. Did you see the cows in the street?
No.
There were 2 big cows.
Just roaming the street.
Yeah. I got them on video, I think.
Now on the island we have 3 international universities. We have 2 of them that we're going to go by right now. One of them that you won't be seeing today is on the opposite side behind the mountains. That one does it recruiting of students from India and also Nigeria. But these 2 that we go by, they're operated by DuVry in the United States. The students come from Puerto Rico, Canada, and also the United States. Same qualification as any university around the world. So the first one here we're going to go by is called UMHS, University of Medicine and Health Science. So this one deal with medicine. Yes.
Katie.
We're gonna go past the second one in a few. This is the hotel next to it on the construction, not finished, not completed as yet. Now if I'm going to the capital before 2005 or as a kid, everything on the left and on your right would have been sugarcane fields. If you look all over the slopes, you see the grasslands all over the slopes of the hills. You're going to see a lot of homes, all of the back ends in the hills. All of that was sugarcane before 2005. But what happened in 2005, the government, they finished away with the production of sugar here on St. Kitts and Nevis, came into tourism. The reason for that, they were subsidizing for sugar production on the island for many
This
years.
is the veterinarian school.
And they were making losses in the millions, putting themselves in what they would have called a national
donkeys.
debt. So they decided in 2005 to finish away with the production, and we came into tourism. So since then, tourism has been the only and major industry here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh. Oh yeah, lots. Oh, little baby ones.
This one is called Ross University School of Veterinarian Medicine. So this one deals with the animals.
Oh, so that's why animals.
Yeah.
About 60, 70 years here on the island. Very large, expands every year. Good atmosphere for learning.
She must be a student. She had her scrubs on.
Yeah.
Now, we already been through our first community, which is the capital, Bastille, which is the St. George's community. We're going to be passing through 2 more communities. One of them is called St. Thomas Parish, or the St. Thomas community. 6th village. That one is my community, so we saved the best for last. But the first community that we're going to be entering right about now is called Trinity Community, and they have 4 villages that we're going to be going through. So the first village in this first community We call it West Farm Village. And on the beginning of the village, if you look in the distance, it's going to be on your right, is an old sugarcane estate. We had 68 of these sugarcane estate. We had an estate every square mile, okay? We call it 68 square miles around, so we had an estate every square mile. Most of these estates is just like this one, old, abandoned, and ruined. Only about 2 or 3 of these estates out of the 68 has been restored. So anyone on the bus want to buy this estate or any one of them and do something with it, you let me know. I get you hooked up, okay?
Single Rider Villa.
Right? Here we go.
On our left, I love to call these lower income homes with a view. So before 2005, or as a kid, everything on my left would have been sugarcane fields. But what happened is after 2005, the government built thousands and thousands of these homes and given to low-income families, and they were given mortgages. After completing the mortgage, the home will be theirs. Okay? If you die before you know your kids, relatives can continue those payments, it will be theirs in the end, okay? No one will come and take it from you. So all of this, even when you see these other larger homes, as a kid for me, or before 2005, it was all sugarcane. Just an oversight on the development after the closure. Now these were sugarcane fields also, but if you have money and you can buy the lands and build whatever your money can build, then the government sell you the lands and you build whatever you want, okay? So these on the opposite hand is not low income, just the smaller ones. Blink your eyes, changing village. You're in your second village already.
It's the same view.
We call it Boyd's. Okay, so we're already in the second village here. But yes, everything on my left, these are not low income, but these were also sugarcane fields before 2005. If you look down on the left, you see a chimney coming to that rooftop. That's an old sugarcane estate down there with the chimney coming to that rooftop. If you look forward, just a bit on your left, you will see a board, and you will see what Gabby's did with that old sugarcane estate on the board here. Okay. So Gabby's kicked parties, weddings, conference, and now it's also a guest house. Okay, Gabby's estate. So anyone, you know, you want to buy it, do something with it, you let me know.
We could run it as a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Guys, I want you to blink your eye one more time because you're going into the third village. Yes, we call it Palmetto Point. So you get an idea of what I was telling you, how close the village are, how small they are. As you blink your eyes, you change village. So you're already in the third village. Only one more village in this first community. But before we get into the last village, on the top of this hill is the church that represents them. Remember I told you, a church is in each community. These churches separate the communities. The communities named after the church. We're in the Trinity community. Here we have the Trinity Anglican Church, Church of England. Small one. One of these churches is in each community, separating the communities. One more village in this first community, and it's called Challengers Village. Challengers is named after a former planter. His name was John Challenger. He was the first planter on the island after the abolition of slavery here on St. Kitts in 1841 to sell the lands in Challengers very cheap to the former enslaved Africans. So Challengers was considered to be like the first free village here on the island of St. Kitts. So the village was named after the planter. Because his name was John Challenger, we call the village Challengers Village. Now on the end of the village there was a bit of history taking place. That's where we have the massacre of the indigenous Indians, who were the Culinary Indians, and they were massacred by the French and the British combining forces in 1626. It was said over 4,000 Indians were massacred by the French and the British. And the blood ran down the river for a few days, so we call that river Bloody Point or Blood River, and that's where we had the massacre of the indigenous Indians. In that river, it was the worship place of the Indians. Okay? So the Indians used to go there and keep their worship. They were massacred there in 1626 by the French and the British.
Oh, look at the...
Now there was a story, we're going to
cow.
enter the village now.
Or maybe he was sleeping.
I'm going to tell you the story that what I heard as a kid about the massacre. It was said that there was an Indian lady. She was an Indian, but she was in love with the British governor, Sir Thomas Warner. And she heard her own people speaking of attacking because the Indians felt threatened by these people coming into the island. So they were planning to attack. But she went and spilled her guts on her own people. And on the night before the Indians made their move, okay, the governor combined his forces with the French governor, Pierre Berlin, and massacred the Indians in their place of worship. Okay? So that's the story behind of it. The Indians felt threatened because the event took place in 1626. The French came in 1625, the British 1623. So the Indians were planning to attack, but the Indian lady nevertheless went and spilled her guts on them. So we're just gonna take a slide slow. I'm going to let you look at the board. It will be on your right with a bit of information. So if you want to snap of it, or if you want to read on it very quickly, then we'll continue the tour, because this is the last village in this first community. Last village in this first community. So we'll be going into a different community after this one. But we got a few empty spaces. Look on your right. There's the board with the information on it. Now all of these people on the side I will tell you about them. You see that stuff in that guy's hand? That's my favorite food. Probably his too. Most of the guys on St. Kitts, or most of the people on St. Kitts, even the ladies, it's our favorite food. Say,
Is cashew?
cashew, but it bears a fruit. So this guy, you see that in his hand? You see that big round stuff like a ball?
Okay.
Yo, Poogie! Poogie!
He's talking.
He's not studying with me today. I want his attention. I know this guy, but... You see that fruit he's eating?
Yeah.
Cashew, okay?
Ah, cashew fruit.
Yo, look at these guys. You see he had my favorite food in his hand? Look at this one, have my favorite food on the ground here also. You see? I'm going to tell you the reason why they have all of those stuff, but I'm not going to do it till I leave Brimstone Hill, okay? I'll tell you about that food after the hill and why it's so favorite on the island. So, we leave the last village in the first community. That's where we're heading for the second stop. Brimstone Hill, second stop. 800 feet above sea level. So we go through a bit of empty spaces and then we go into my community. It's called St. Thomas. Okay, we have 6 villages making up my community. The first village in my community is the most historical one. It's called Old Road. Old Road was our first capital here on the island. It was the first capital of St. Kitts. And where we had the first British settlement here in the Caribbean. It was said that the governor, Sir Thomas Warner, he was in need of some fresh water. And somehow he saw fresh water emerging with the sea at Old Road, and he came in to get the fresh water, fell in love with the island of St. Kitts and decided to stay, colonize it, and made it the first British colony for the British here in the Caribbean. So it all started in the next village that we're going to be entering, Old Road. That's where we all started here in the Caribbean for the
You
British.
see a watch for cow
Okay.
sign
Now,
on the road.
on your right is the first female lady that had 10 years in government. With the first Prime Minister, we gave 15 years. We gave the first Prime Minister 15 years. She had 10 years with him in that office. This is our home. I'm not really showing you the home, but you can look at it. I want you to look for the lawnmowers because she never ever used a machine on her lawn. So as I drive by slowly, look all in the back, look anywhere you want to look,
Look, there's the
and tell me
guy
if you can see one of the lawnmowers anywhere. No, I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, we saw one right in front.
Okay, you see them. I haven't seen them today,
Right there.
but you guys see them. Yes, sheep and goats.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I see them
She
now.
never ever let a machine work on her lawn. Sheep and goats, just all over,
Cool.
all day, every day. Smart way, cheaper way, okay?
Yeah.
She never use a machine.
I don't think my HOA
See the
would allow
duck over
that.
here?
Right.
You're on reclaimed land once again. So it was a retaining wall by this light pole going around in the corner, coming around, you know. It's about 10, 13, 15 feet down. So all of this is built up land on the ocean. So the water will have just come and beat on the wall, go back out. So we used to drive here just looking on the ocean. But if you realize it's under the cliffs, right? So when it rains or when you have strong winds, we got some big stones coming out of that cliff. And it could be very fatal for us if we jump on the vehicles. So the government, after so many years, decided to construct a new road by reclaiming some of the ocean lands and constructing this new road. So this is only 1 year old. So probably last year, I would have been giving you your tour onto that cliff. So this one is still not completed, but you can see it's a new constructed road. Look at the stones coming out of the cliffs, and they could be very huge at times. Okay? Very dangerous. Look at some of the sides that come down on some of the times. See those sides? Can't beat those sides, so they come down like a bullet out of that, yeah? They'll be very settled by the English. So all the history around here in the Caribbean, this is the village that it all started for the British. Old Road. Spratnet open, today is Wednesday. Wednesday to Sundays. But Wednesday night, Friday night is the best night here for night dining. One of the top spots for night dining on Wednesdays mostly, and Fridays because of the live band.
I see the captain in there.
And the
Yeah.
seafood.
That's my captain.
Yes. So whatever seafood you eat in here is whatever these guys catch. They do their own catch.
Oh, nice.
Some of the largest fishermen we have on the island is these guys. So they even sell the fish. They have a fish market. They even sell the fish to different people. Okay. Now look on your right. You see that footbridge. That's what they would have crossed when the river is coming down too heavy. As a kid, this direction, that direction, we had to stop at least right here, further back, and let it go 2, 3 hours, 4 hours till it cools down. But over time, you know, I saw the government put the excavators in there, dug it out, and they built this that we can just drive straight over it. Even if it's coming down, it's going to go under the roads now. So it don't stop us from going back and forth anymore. But as a kid, we used to have to wait. Okay? But if it's coming down heavy, you could have crossed by your foot over the bridges. So yes, the oldest village here in the Caribbean, Old Road, oldest village here, first capital, first British settlement, right here. Okay? So look on your left. There's a plaque in the wall that says this site is believed to be the site of the main Amerindian settlement in St. Kitts in the 1500s, prior to the colonization by Europeans. Old Road later became the site of the first English settlement in the Caribbean. So, yes, this is how the building was looking, on your left, on your right. And you can say probably we had buildings like this all over. But you know, as time goes, things advance, they will just break down these stuff. And that's why you're seeing like modern buildings on the front line. But believe me, as a kid, you will see a lot of these homes on the front lines. But over time, you know, no one wants to keep on with these old homes, so they break them down and build up new homes. That's why you're seeing a lot of these buildings are more modern. But you see what this one did? They keep the brick in the bottom there. But you see you have the wood on top, right? Yeah, that's what people do at times to keep a little history going, okay?
Ting and everything.
There's this ting.
Yeah, put some ting in everything.
There's some
You can see
ting
the
in
mango
everything.
trees here on your left. Mangoes, we have mango trees like wildlands all over. You're gonna see them all over the island. See my favorite food on the table there? When we come off from the tour, none of them is gonna be there. They're all gonna be sold off. They sell very quickly. My favorite food, and I'll tell you all about them, don't worry.
Old Rum Road.
Yeah.
Old Road Rum.
Now the orange building is a daycare center. I could have been doing a tour with you, and I collect my kids in the afternoon no later than 5 p.m. and I wouldn't have to pay $1. The government pays the ladies here weekly wages to take care of your kids, free of cost. Now here is a petroglyph drawing done by the Indians hundreds of years ago. It represents fertility. So it was said if the Indian ladies were infertile, they would go and touch on that rock and they would get babies like crazy.
Okay, we're not touching that.
I used to come on my
Stay
pedal
away from
bike
that.
Stay away
and I
from
used to
that.
play on that rock.
Stay
I used to come on my pedal bike and just go and play on it. I paid no mind. I was ignorant. I know I'm joking. I have not so much. I have 4. But I guess it's the rock still, you know? Don't mess with the rock. It's true. I was living here 2003, 2004, 2005. There's this orange building just for me one alone. You know what I mean? Comfortable, right? I'm joking though. Public baths. But those years that I call like 2003, 2004, these baths were still fully functional, okay? Everyone didn't have showers in their homes. So those old homes that you see were breaking down, they didn't have showers in them. So all over in all the different villages had showers. Some of the village, they may have 2, 3, 4 showers according to the size of the village. Primary school for my community. All of this on your left from the road to go up to the mountains. As a kid, for me, it was all sugarcane fields. So the homes that were on the island before didn't have like showers. You had to come on the outside, you know, separate on the outside and bathe, you know.
Okay, obviously,
Or
they're recycling here.
You could have
'cause that's
gone to
all
the public baths
stuff
where
separated.
Yeah.
They're about to stop that in our county.
you could have taken showers. But over time, you know, these low-income homes, the government build them and they build them with showers in them. So they have like, some of them will be no more than 3 bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, a front room, and you can see a veranda. But what happened is that over time, a lot of these low-income families, they have, those are just water pipes, electrical pipes, so when they're ready to do the top, they can just pull the electrical wires through those pipes, you know. That's why you see the pipes and stuff sticking up like that. Those are for the electrical and the plumbings. So these were all sugarcane as a kid for me. All sugarcane. Look inside this garden on your right. Yeah, they got the peppers there. They got the greens. They got the papayas. I'm going to show you a better garden. Now, if we had to make a stop at least here with the bus, just even where you see those vehicles, they would have been in trouble before 2005. Look on your right, you see why I'm saying it? They would have got run over by the train. The trucks go through here, but they're covered in the grass and the dirt. And where there's the hill, they follow the hill, go around till they get back on the straight.
Yeah.
So in this location though, it was the home of the Indians before they were massacred. So the Indians used to live in this location before they were massacred. But after they were massacred, it was then taken over by Samuel Jefferson. Samuel Jefferson is the great grandfather of Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States. So the Jefferson family had the first estate out of the 68 we had. And it was the only estate that was powered by water. So you look at those arches up there, is an aqueduct. All the rest 67 estate had to use the windmills. This was the only one that used water. And it was owned by Samuel Jefferson, where he manufactured rum, sugar, he grew tobacco, and cotton on the estate. This estate is called Wingfield Estate, first estate out of the 68. And the only one powered by water, established in 1625. That's the sugarcane plant, that's the cotton plant, cotton, and those are the big pots that they cook people in. I'm joking. They boil molasses in there to make their rum. In my young days, in the summer, I fill them with water, make good swimming pools. Yes, here is an aqueduct. Water flow